they don't feel as though you're ready to love.
Damn, okay. Interesting. Well, I got you. I appreciate you, Diana. Anything any different? You know, I'm not really here to stroke anybody's ego, to be honest. Would have been much easier to come in here and
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black But 91. We're talking to you guys about Wayne and his elimination. Yes, his elimination wasn't just about him being busy. It wasn't about him just not messaging Angie and Coley back. It was actually about his attachment style. Yeah, the way he operates. It's not about just being busy. It's not the fact you just don't text people back. It's because you yourself, you are emotionally detached and you quickly and easily become overwhelmed. When he described to us that he can take 5 to 7 days and be so ingrained and soaked in his routine, I knew instantly that was the avoidant attachment style. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to break it all the way down, what it actually is and what it actually entails. And then we're going to talk about how that played a role in Wayne being eliminated, and then give you hopefully 1 or 2 treats in terms of beginning to heal that particular attachment style going forward as well. But before we do me the massive favor, okay, of liking, sharing, subscribing, clicking on that wonderful bell button for notifications of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. Let's get into the video.
Little Black But, you know what time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is.
All right, so talking obviously about Wayne and his elimination, we know that early on in the season, let's say early in the season, but a couple of episodes ago, he spoke with Angie and he spoke about his background, about him being a mama's boy. And I said there was a couple of things when he said it. I said it sounds like there's a little bit of emotional detachment there, but we'll wait and see, right? Which also plays a role also in Angie, because why was Angie so interested in Wayne? Maybe because there's something about Wayne that also that drew her, which means that probably there's something that we need to talk about Angie about as well, about her attachment style and why she's drawn to the mystery of someone being so chill, so laid back, yet they're not really forthcoming emotionally. We'll talk about that another time. But we're going to focus on Wayne, okay? So for those of you who don't know attachment styles, simply what it is attachment styles here is all about you being able to understand how you emotionally attach in relationships. John Bowlby, the first British psychologist, and then the work was done by Mary Ainsworth, who built upon that. Simply what attachment styles is the emotional connection, how you attach. There was 4 of them, originally 3. And the first one is secure. Everybody's looking to be secure. When you grow up in a household full of love, care, appreciation, trust, your emotions are allowed to be expressed freely. You're given trust and freedom incrementally at the right stages of your child development, then this is oftentimes people who grow up in very secure environments and become secure individuals. They have less wounds and less trigger points. But then you have the other 3. You have anxious, who are always trying to prove their worth and trying to prove that they're worthy. Then you have the avoidance, and there's 2 of them, fearful and dismissive. Fearful avoidance carry both the anxious and the dismissive wound. Okay, so the anxious wound and the core wound for the anxious person is that they're always trying to prove their worth because they're afraid of abandonment. The avoidant, fearful avoidant is afraid of abandonment, betrayal, and rejection because they carry both anxious and avoidant. And then there's dismissive avoidant who are, like their name, dismissive, okay? They are people who are like what I believe Wayne is, right? Very nonchalant, chill, and very laid back, but actually really and truly, they just don't want to concern themselves with love because it's too emotionally tasking, right? And so that particular wound that they carry is a fear of rejection. So that's why the low effort comes in, right? If I put low effort in, I can't be disappointed. I can't be hurt, right? That's important. Okay, so going into that, let's just play a little bit of a clip because I want to just play this clip. This was what tripped me out and got me thinking about his attachment style.
to check in or hang. I'm not necessarily all the way in, but I know it's been a good 5 or 7 days and this person expects to see me, but then it feels like an obligation, so then I'm not as excited.
I mean,
Now that sounds a little bit crazy, but it actually sounded very familiar. So what he's describing is that when he gets into a routine, meaning that when he gets into his independent focus, the thing about avoidance is that their fear is them being swallowed up by someone else. So they create their own space of being hyper independent. Now, independence is not a problem, but hyper-independence means I must do everything on my own. I don't like asking for help. I'm very singular focused. I'm not even a good team player. I want to focus on what I'm doing. And so him getting into his routine is him kind of just getting into his flow and his groove. But when he's taken out of it, it's frustrating, it's annoying because it feels like you're about to consume him. It feels like you're about to take over. It feels like you're about to overthrow him. And so he will reject and push that back because it feels like a sense of control. Right? So him waiting 5 to 7 days, as he says, yeah, he'll wait 5 to 7 days. But then by the end of it, now he's like, I know you have an obligation. And here's the wound. He does not want to feel that he's let the person down or disappointed them. He doesn't want them to feel that emotion. Why? Because he's not comfortable with them feeling disappointment, because that makes him feel some type of way. And that makes him feel like he's being manipulated. Because if you feel some way, I'm going to react to how you feel some way, and then I'm going to feel down about this particular thing. And I have to look at myself as to what I contributed. And I don't want to do that. Right? Because it reminds me of my childhood, of probably not being good enough, or maybe making a mistake and not being safe enough to make a mistake, not being allowed to express myself emotionally. So there's something there for him as to why he does this. Now, one thing you have to know about avoidance also is that with their red flags is that they avoid emotional closeness. Hence the 5 to 7 days. He's actually creating distance between yourself and himself, right? Getting stuck in his routine that he's busy. And then what he will say is commitment feels like an obligation, right? He's not excited to see the woman, right? Commitment for avoidance feels like they're being, it's like they're being, you're tying a ball and a chain to their leg. They feel like they're not free, okay? So when they have to invest, it feels like, that's too much, that's too heavy. And so there's a detachment that happens to kick in, okay? Number 3, they start making excuses because they are emotionally unavailable, okay? So failing to text back, right? It's all about again, creating a space where he is not able to receive, but maybe he'll be able to give, right? He can give, but not receive, okay? And so whether you can give or receive, if you don't do both, you're not emotionally available. If you only do one, anxious people do one, they always are in a space of, receive. It's the wrong way around. Anxious people are always in a place of giving because they're always trying to prove their worth. Avoidant people are always in a place of taking or receiving, right? The complete opposite of spectrum. What you want is a balance. You want a balance, right? And the fifth of avoidance fall in between the cracks and go, they want to give sometimes, they want to take sometimes. Right, so that's another story for itself. So avoidance will oftentimes prioritize their own independence and withdraw when emotional closeness is expected. When that person says, "Oh, I like you, I want to get to know you," he's pushing back. Right? I'm not here for it. Now, added to that, I want to play another clip again, and then we'll talk a bit more.
Easier to come in here and give attention to women who I had no interest in seeing in order to get their vote, but I didn't do that. What's so lovely to me that you expect to go home, but I'm quite proud of how I moved. And also, I don't really care what anybody thinks.
Now, it's really interesting because he says, obviously, he did his best and everything like that. He doesn't care what anyone else thinks. But he was very low effort. He was dismissive and low effort. So when we say this, your words and actions don't match. So in a sense of, I was busy, right? But you took their numbers. And it's because you are emotionally hesitant. You don't want to overly commit too soon. Like it's going to go too fast because you don't realize that you feel like you don't have good boundaries. You know you don't have good boundaries, but you won't say that. Instead, you're like, no, I just got to keep, it's a sense of control that they do. So they keep you at bay, right? And keep you at a distance because they're actually not very good at boundaries. So because they're not very good at saying no without them feeling like if I say no, you're going to emotionally manipulate me by feeling sad or down, they don't want to be in that space at all. Right? So you have a low investment in connection, right? You've got the numbers, but you don't want to create the bond. And the reason why this ends up becoming a pattern, okay, is that oftentimes avoidance can be addicted to the chase or the desire of the person, but not necessarily the commitment of the person, right? So in the very beginning, and he's not even there yet, but in the very beginning, he may show up as an amazing guy and then suddenly just drop off. And the reason why he just suddenly dropped off is because now the real him is showing up. Beforehand, he was trying to impress you, trying to put on a good show. He wasn't as fearful because at the very beginning, you don't actually know him. There is nothing really expected from you, or him, sorry. And so when you get into a relationship, you're going to see that flip because now expectations are on him. And the expectations are becoming obligations, and the obligations are leading to, if I can't do it, I will fail you, and if I fail you, you're going to be disappointed. And if you're disappointed in me, then you're going to cause me to be rejected. Oh, now that's something that's heavy. The fear of the rejection, the fear of the disappointment, okay, is coming from the obligation, not wanting to be in it, but actually all stems from the root of, I don't want to be rejected. So I won't start the process at all, right? So the woman obviously pulled away from him and he had to be eliminated because there was an emotional reciprocity that was missing, right? He wasn't ready for the deep commitment. He wasn't ready to give himself up and open himself up. He didn't even allow himself to have conversations with these ladies, right? So when he says I was very proud of myself, and he actually said I didn't think I was going home. Why do you not think he was going home, Wayne? Right? Could it be that you're not actually being self-aware? How are you not realizing? How are you not thinking that you're gonna go home? You know,
Easier to come in here and give attention to women who I had no interest in seeing in order to get their vote, but I didn't do that. What's so lovely me that you expect to go home, but I'm quite proud of how I moved, and also I don't really care what anybody thinks.
Now, the whole thing is, if you didn't really want these women, why didn't you just quit? Like you were going on like, you know, and it's almost giving defense mechanism because you got rejected, right? And thrown out the show. When I say thrown out the show, I mean you're eliminated. There's almost a feeling of rejection there in that space, because I don't know if I caught the clip. Maybe I got the wrong part of the clip. He actually did say he didn't expect to go home, and I was confused. Why would you not? If you didn't try to call people, why would you not expect to go home? Unless he was calling Diona, and I don't know. Diona, we don't know. You know what I'm saying to you? Unless he was calling Diona, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's something else to it. Maybe we should talk to him and see about that. But yeah, that was I was a bit confused about that. Why would you not think you're going home? Lessons to learn. Okay, you want to build strong connections, and consistency is key. Start small. It doesn't have to be huge. 5 minutes. Don't have to set yourself a whole hour conversation. No, 5 minutes. Build it up, right? And my thing is also with him is that you've got to start being committed. So do it right there and then. Like if you're talking to somebody and you like them, you know what I'm saying to you, take it slow. Make a little commitment. Let's say, look, I'm gonna call you for 5-10 minutes a day. You know, and that's it. That's what I'm going to start from. And what you're going to find is you're going to begin to build trust, because one of the biggest issues with an avoidant is actually a trust issue. And that lack of trust is why they won't open themselves up too much, because they're afraid of being rejected, or for the fifth of avoidance, being abandoned, rejected, or betrayed. Okay? That's what made him not ready to love, because he was unwilling to bypass his fear to be courageous. Right? So when you need to know what you need to heal, you have to understand these 3 points. You have to acknowledge the root cause of your avoidance. It is often from your parents and what you experience, and not having an environment to really express yourself, right? Being told that your expressions are not allowed here. That usually causes avoidance because of suppression, the suppression of your emotions, and oftentimes being in an environment where you have to be a problem solver as well, right? Reframe emotional connection as strength. Being emotional is not weakness. Being emotional is actually an act of respect. In fact, emotions are just a message. It is a river and a stream that goes past, and it's not meant to be held. It's meant to be observed, and you ask it questions. What does this mean? It's not a burden. Number 3, you have to build the habit of emotional consistency. So start small, 5 minutes a day. But first, you've got to connect with yourself. And that comes with emotional safety, meaning ask yourself the hard questions. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Why won't I do this? Why am I doing this? Why am I asking the why question of yourself, and actually being safe with yourself, saying that I accept whatever answer comes, and not trying to be critical of yourself. All right. Practice vulnerability in safe spaces with friends, you know, sharing a little bit at a time. Don't have to do all at once, a little bit at a time. Consistency again. Okay. And own your shortcomings, and don't pretend it actually does not exist. That's a major thing. We can do a whole video where I can go deeper into the actual practice of actually healing and how we get to that stage, but a lot of that stuff is what I do in coaching already. Okay, so if you want more deep dives into reality TV, then make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and turn on your notifications on all, so you get my notifications. And also as well, I don't want you to struggle. If you're somebody who's an avoidant or an anxious person or even fearful avoidant, then these are going to be challenges that you're going to face, but you can overcome them. And so I'm offering relationship coaching. There's a link down below in the description box. I've got a few spaces left over. I haven't opened my full diary as of yet. I'll open that in April, but I've still got a few emergency spaces open in this certain time. I want you to use it. If you're somebody who's struggling with your attachment style and you're struggling in dating, then let me know, because that's what we're going to help you go through. Okay, so make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. You click on that wonderful bell button for notifications of the uploads, and don't do anything I wouldn't do out here. Okay, all right.